So that concludes Edinburgh Fringe for 2024. That's the end of these video diaries. Catch you all later. No, I'm not going to end it like that. Not after the last update. So yes, last two shows, Saturday and Sunday. Things were quiet out there for lots of people. And so the question mark hovered, would I have a final couple of shows? On Saturday, I had two people turn up and I said to them, look, it looks like you're the only audience. Do you still want to go ahead? I'm happy to do the show if you do. And their response was, oh, so we get a personalised Fringe show just for us. Yeah, I will take that as spin at this point. So I did the show to two people and they loved it and gave me a nice hefty donation at the end. So that was possibly one of my favourite shows, to two people. So there you go. There's the Fringe pendulum from two cancellations and a show of silence with initially 8 people to a show with 2 people who absolutely loved it. So that was great. And then Sunday, things were looking even quieter out there. The show before me didn't run. I think they basically just decided to cut their losses. And it looked like I was going to do the same, but fortunately, as has been the case through a lot of this Fringe, I had 3 friends turn up, and so I had a sort of lovely final show with a lovely, supportive, friendly audience. So it was a nice way to end the Fringe. So I did have 2 final shows. I stuck around. I completed the Fringe, did a full run. 5 cancellations, 17 actual shows. Yeah, I think this being the Monday, I was a little bit shell-shocked. Yesterday, Sunday, was a lot of fun in other regions as well, rather not just the show. Yesterday was the inaugural comedians performing Rocky Horror from memory, which was exactly the sort of knockabout, chaotic fun I hoped it would be. Effectively, it was just a room full of like 30, 40 people all just shouting along to Rocky Horror songs. Just the release we all needed at the end of the Fringe, I think. So hats off to Steve McLean for that one, and I'm definitely on board for any future ones. And then following my show, I went to the ACMS awards ceremony, which is their last show on the last Sunday. It's a tradition where they have silly awards, and anyone who's performed throughout the month and is at the show gets put into a random number generator and can go up and accept an award. And I got randomly generated to accept 2 awards, which worked out really nicely because I had 2 different wigs, so I could do a bit of stupid wig business, which seemed to go down well. And then after that, went on with a group of mates to have a few drinks until the wee small hours of the morning. I got back home at about 5 o'clock, I think, this morning. Yeah, early or late, depending on your point of view and which direction you're coming at it from. Yes, so yesterday was a lovely end to the Fringe. Yeah, I actually overall thoroughly enjoyed yesterday. So, the Fringe is finished. Some closing thoughts, I guess. Was it what I hoped doing a solo show on my own across a whole run would be? Yes and no. Let's start with a no. No in that I expected I'd have to cancel some. I didn't expect to have to cancel quite that many. And also, like, just personally for me and for my show, doing it in Newtown wasn't a fit. It just wasn't the audience over there to pull in for sort of silly character stuff. So yeah, so there's learning experience there. Yes, in that I did a full run of a show. I did, more material than I've ever performed. I think just for a bit of, I will reel off some stats as well in a bit, but just for, I guess, a bit of context, I performed, I think, more minutes of comedy this month than I performed from January to July put together. So that's the benefit right there. I learned to adapt. I learned to be able to, even in quite a rigid character show, shift stuff around depending on how the audience were reacting. I learned in one show to give audience members an out to leave if they're not enjoying it, because don't make them stay around and bring the show down for the ones who are. And I added new bits to the show, I added new material, I played around with stuff. I think maybe my performance is better now. I got to be on stage at the Monkey Barrel twice, ACMS. That's a highlight. We got to sing Rocky Horror. Yeah, lots of positives. Will I do it again? That's a question for another day, I think. Today is the day it's finished, and I probably just need a bit of downtime and to decompress and think about it a bit. So some stats on the shows. So I did 17 shows. I had an average of £5 per person as a donation across those shows. Doesn't sound like much, but that's actually not a bad average. And I had an average of 7 people per show. So again, that sounds small, doesn't sound like a lot of people, and I hear different things from different people. The average number of attendees per Fringe show, if you take the 4,000 odd shows that are running, is either 4 or 6 per show. So either way, I'm running slightly above average in terms of attendees. It might not have felt like it a lot of the times when I was in the thick of it, but yeah, it's a good result. I made it to the end. I didn't bail out. Yeah, it was good. The other positive from the run is when I started comedy, I thought it would be fairly competitive. I thought it would be a competitive thing because you're all, vying for spots, vying for gigs. It's not like that at all. There's a real community, and if not for my friends in comedy and both in the real world who've come along and supported me this month, I wouldn't have made it to the end. So am I about to say the real Edinburgh Fringe was the friends we made along the way? Yeah, I am. Yeah, I'm sorry, I am. I've done it, there you go, I've said it. There was a lot of all of us being in it together and supporting each other. And lots and lots of people have been massively supportive, and I'm grateful to it. I give some special shout outs to ones who checked in on me a lot to make sure I was all right. So, special thanks to Natalie Durkin, to Luke Nixon, Stefania Licari, to Marcus Dean, to Steve McLean, Kate Lois Elliott, Michelle Shaughnessy, Jake Gebby, and plenty more besides. If I've left you off that list, it isn't because I don't appreciate it, it's because I'm very tired. Without the sort of support and checking in from those people, it would have been a much tougher Fringe, I think. So that's it. I did a full run of my own show at Edinburgh Fringe in 2024. Yeah, that hasn't sunk in yet. Give it time, it will. Right, I have to finish packing, go and get a plane, and then the important bit, go home and see my cats. Yeah, let's leave it on that. Will he be back next year?